A faulty Chinese stamp that depicts Cultural Revolution workers rallying beneath a red China but neglected to include a red Taiwan fetched hundreds of thousands of US dollars at a recent Hong Kong auction, despite a cooling in China's philatelic market. An unidentified buyer snatched the block of 4 rare stamps at $816,000 US dollars during a 4-day auction that ended on Tuesday. Issued in 1968 during the Cultural Revolution, the politically incorrect stamp called "The Whole Country is Red" were almost immediately withdrawn and destroyed. Jeffrey Schneider, director of the auction house Interasia, believes this block to be one of the very few mint-conditioned "The Whole Country is Red" in existence.
Taiwan is actually in white rather than red, and that's why "The Whole Country is Red" with Taiwan in white is a mythical thing, and therefore because it was withdrawn from use with very few sold, that's why it's so rare. Well, I think it's because there are a lot of new collectors and that are just finding their feet, and they became very enthusiastic very quickly, and it's just something that took off like that. It was a phenomenon that happened, and now it's calmed down a little bit.
Talking about stamp collecting, the standard answer, if someone was to walk up to you, probably when you're about 12 years old or something like that, and ask, what's your hobby? The standard answer for most would be I'm a stamp collector. Or rather, one of my favorite hobbies is collecting stamps. But if they follow that up with how many stamps do you have, you'll be like,
of course, if you're from Taiwan, one hobby I would probably have is collecting toys, because all our toys are made in Taiwan.
I know, exactly. And you can have a whole load of whatever you love to have. Now, right about now, let's take a short break and we'll be back on Good Morning Sri Lanka. Hi, good morning once again. You're watching Good Morning Sri Lanka. Now we were taking a look at some of the stories that's been happening in and around the world, and now we're going to Copenhagen, where they're going to introduce yet another interesting concept that I believe, Hari, just like the one that we discussed about the beetle and the ban about spitting in public places.
Another public policy related change.
Yeah, and that can be applied here, I guess.
Of course, they are building a super highway. Now this super highway is going to include a lane for bikes. That is a special thing about it. Now Sri Lanka, we are having a few super highways coming up, with the Southern Express now being extended to Katnayaka. It's been built and all that. I don't know whether we'll have a provision for bikes, but in Taiwan, in Copenhagen, that's what they're doing. They're building a lane for the bikes.
And I guess this is very important in terms of reducing traffic. We had a similar concept being worked out called Ride to Work. I think 1 or 2 days of we had this concept where there was a campaign to ride to work just 1 day of the month at least, just for starters, and see how it goes. So let's see how Copenhagen is trying to promote riding to work or wherever they want to get, and also reducing traffic.
Increasing numbers of Copenhagen cyclists can ride to work on brand new, thoughtfully equipped cycle paths as Denmark expands its superhighway routes to and from the capital, with trails up to 14 miles long. Copenhagen and over 20 local governments have teamed up to develop a bike lane network they hope will increase bicycle traffic by as much as 30%. When ready, 26 routes, 300 kilometers, will connect parts of greener Copenhagen with as few stops along the way as possible. The aim is also that the clearly marked lane, sometimes running parallel to the real highway or along a quiet field or lake, will be closed to public transport stations. Special road signs displaying distances as well as service stations will keep commuters informed while en route.
My relation to bike is the same relation that everybody in Denmark or in Copenhagen have. Everybody has a bike. Sometimes you use them every day and sometimes you don't, but you have them and it's easy. It's the easiest and fastest way to get around in Copenhagen. We build bicycle lanes all over the city to make it more safe to bicycle. So the main thing is to not mix the car traffic and the bike traffic in the same lines. People don't feel safe when they're biking around cars and buses. So that's why we have this major investment in our bicycle infrastructure.
We hope that this project will bring an increase in about 20% of cycling in Copenhagen because we have a big potential of people who can ride the bike a little bit longer than we do already.
Coming from Copenhagen, of course, being the environmental summit capital for all this, and they taking the initiative is very good, because of course the carbon footprint problem, Evan, with motor vehicles and the emission issues is terrible, and there is a lot of problems, and there is a solution that is simple.
Exactly, Harit, and I would say that recently we've had a lot of earth slips, floods, all that, and a lot of it is related to global warming and the consequences that happen indirectly because of that.
And end of the day, Mevan, all of us really did enjoy taking a bike outside and riding it along, and why not when we are a bit older and going to work?
I know, I guess that's a healthy way too. Enjoy some fresh air, get some exercise as well. And we're going to take another thing that's been happening in Copenhagen. Now the church tower, the Copenhagen famous church tower, is apparently now having secular music, and although the player involved, his name is Lars Simon, has been criticized by some for playing secular music. He says that he's going to go on with it, and let's see what that's about.
A Copenhagen church musician who plays popular music on the bells of his church has vowed to continue despite criticism from some quarters. Karelian player Lars Simon has been criticized by some in Copenhagen for playing secular music from the bell tower of Our Saviour's Church in the Danish capital. But Simon has said that he never plays music that goes against the message of the church, and that the bells are an instrument that belongs to everybody.
So it's an instrument that belongs to everybody, and therefore I think you should join with everybody and play popular things as well. It's both an instrument that is turned inwards to the church, but it's as well an instrument that is turned outwards from the church. So it's both a church instrument and not a church instrument. We don't play church music from the Carillon. It's on a church tower, that's right, and it's the Church of Denmark that owns the Carillon and pays my salary. But anyway, there's nowhere in the world where you only play sacred music from the Carillon. Not that I know of, anyway. So it's a bit out of tune with criticism. And then I wouldn't play music that has a content that goes against the church's the message of the church. I wouldn't play communist songs on the 1st of May because that goes against, in my opinion, goes against the message from the church.
There we go, Harit. I think that's an interesting thing, but because he argues that it doesn't go against the message of the church.
I think the thing is this, Mevan, in the current context, in the modern world, you can't take a religious message without being slightly secular.
I know.
There are so many aspects to understand. You can't, put it in your face being religious. And I think this message is alright. It's just a church, it's a building. End of the day, secular music, reaching out to a large audience.
I guess so. But with that, Harit, we have to end up today's episode of Good Morning Sri Lanka. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you'll have a great day and you'll enjoy the rest of the week as well. Also, a reminder about the cricket. Let's hope that turns out well as well for Sri Lanka. Bye bye. See you soon.